WRKS Pickens Jackson, where it's time for the guy who always gets you to the ball game on time. And here's the pitch. It's Matt Wyatt with all the good stuff you need to know. Right here on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
And a happy Monday to you. Welcome in. Welcome in. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What are you talking about today? How are you? What's out there on the kind of on the tip of your tongue? What's everybody talking about today? I bet I know. Two in a row. Back to back. 3 out of the last 4, or something like that. I don't know. They won 3. Chop! Chop! Yep! You know you like it. Man, what a ball game. What a ball game. And I know it's easy to say when you're, rooting for the team that won it. Welcome in on this Monday into the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. All across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes, that's your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents. Chop, chop. Yeah, and that's it. The Chiefs were the home team in the Super Bowl. Did manage to win it in overtime. Did you know that the overtime rules in the playoffs are different than the regular season overtime rules in the NFL? Did you know that? Because if you did, according to reports, you knew more about it than the 49ers. They said they didn't realize they were different. Maybe they shouldn't have taken the ball when they won the toss, right? Because it wasn't the same as all of that and more on today's show. Let's say hi-de-ho to neighbor Beaver. Beaver, how you doing today? You good? By the way, just as a friendly reminder, Beaver and I did have a wager. It's nothing major. We didn't have a major wager. But I think now what I'm getting out of the deal is some yummy to my tummy country pleasing sausage and a few little Debbies. And just side note, I like the Star Crunch. Yeah, and it was a heck of a ball game. Listen, it was a heck of a ball game, and it didn't necessarily, start out looking like it was going to be that way. It didn't necessarily begin like it was going to be an exciting ball game, right? Like you're thinking. Sure enough. I mean, into the first quarter and kind of, even with just a few minutes left in the first half, I was looking at it going, okay, I can appreciate myself. I can certainly appreciate a good old-fashioned football game where defense is dominating. It's really hard to move the ball and score. Fine with that. And it does kind of play into the Chiefs' strengths, and defense really been a strength for them all year. But then it loosened up a little bit. Defenses got tired, and you started to get a little more offense. But still, it's just incredible. The overall ideas, and we'll get into it. We got plenty of time to do it, and the whole world's talking about it today. I don't know, that's no different for us. I'm going to come to your text messages, your phone calls, your comments on the live thread, the Murray West live thread. That's all coming up. Overall ideas for me. One, I don't know how much more we have to see to understand just how special, how unique, how like once and forever Patrick Mahomes is. The guy is incredible. Okay. And I got thoughts on it. And I know we judge these quarterbacks by the number of Super Bowl rings that they have over the course of their career. And I get that. Football, very much a team game. Okay. But there's also there's a flash and a flare factor, a clutch factor with these guys. But for him, who's the last guy you saw? winning multiple Super Bowls this early in his career, 3 of them. He's played in 4, won 3 of them, multiple Super Bowl MVPs, and does it the way that he does it. And again, plenty of time, and we'll get to it later. Brady, all those years, yes, but he did it a different way, kind of. You know, he's never pulling the ball twice in a game on a zone read and going off on a 20-yard run like Mahomes has done and did twice last night. He just, y'all, I'm telling you, I know it sounds like a copycat of Romo. I'm just saying. I believe that Patrick Mahomes is the closest thing that we have seen in the NFL to like a Michael Jordan in the NBA. I really think that. And I really think we're on the beginning of it. I don't think he's anywhere near finished. As far as an individual that is, it's uncanny. The rise to the occasion, that no matter what the team, what's happening around him, always elevate the team around him and always find a way to win. What they did in the playoffs this year, what that Chiefs team did in the playoffs this year, are you serious? First of all, Miami, and I know it's freezing cold, but think about Miami and its weapons and its offense, right? And in Buffalo, right? Think about them and their offense, and you've got to go to Buffalo. And then you've got to go to Baltimore and face the NFL MVP and Lamar Jackson and that offense. And then you're going to play those 49ers who were so dominant all year long. And do you realize that I think in those 4 games combined, the Chiefs defense gave up, I think it was, 2 or 3 plays, maybe period, of 25 yards or more? And that's it against those offenses. The stuff that team did. And Mahomes just elevates the whole thing around him. It's absolutely incredible. I honestly don't know what you compare it to. Teams and quarterbacks in our lifetime who've won multiple Super Bowls. Who's the closest thing, really? Would it be Elway? But see, it was so much different with Elway. Elway was the kind of guy who would run around. Even late in his career, he'd make play. You know, he had the helicopter play at the goal line as an old guy, but won a couple of Super Bowls, but it's at the end of his career. The way he plays and the way he does it, and on the biggest stage, it's incredible what that guy does. All right. Your thoughts, your opinions, and otherwise coming up. Oh, and by the way, the homecoming queen sent me a list of her favorite things from last night's Super Bowl. And there is a decided Mississippi flavor to it also. So if she'll just hang on for about 30 seconds, after headlines, we're going to get her list. We're going to get Homecoming Queen's list of the favorite things from last night's Super Bowl. That's coming up. All right, our headlines on the show brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage and Went McGee, the mortgage man. Where you at, Went? Went McGee, the mortgage man. Find him online at Went. I'm sorry, Went. You got your own website, Went? Find him online at mortgagemanms.com. Headlines.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world.
Good evening, and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Here's what's making news.
Go to mortgagemanms.com. Bank of England Mortgage, locations in Ridgeland, now in Starkville, Oxford, and Tupelo as well. Of course, Chiefs win the Super Bowl. It was in overtime, and the overtime rules are different. And after giving up a field goal, go down the field and score a touchdown, win the game by 3, 25-22. Incredible. More on that. Mahomes, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick in the ball game. Headline number 2. What about the Travis Kelce, Andy Reid shove that happened in the middle of the game? They laughed it off afterwards. They vowed after the game to continue the relationship, play together, continue going forward. They laughed it off. Andy Reid said he caught me off balance. He says, I wasn't watching. He was coming over saying, put me in the game. Kelce said, I didn't care about my catches. I wanted the score to be different. Coach has asked us to speak our minds. He basically says, that's what I'm doing. Do you approve or don't you? More on that coming up. And headline number 3 over the weekend, Ole Miss did not play men's basketball on Saturday. They're going to play tomorrow night. They had the weekend off. State went to Missouri and got a much-needed road win, their first road win of the year, and held Missouri, I think, like 50, 51 points. I was wondering if they were going to hold them under 50. Didn't play great early, but played great when they had to and won the ball game, get a road win. So those are your headlines brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage and Went McGee, the mortgage man. Find them online at mortgagemanms.com. Got a great program going right now for first-time home buyers. You can borrow up to, well, not borrow, you can get up to $20,000 in this program towards the purchase of your home. You don't have to pay it back as long as you stay in the house within 5 years, and that's for first-time home buyers. So go see Went McGee, mortgagemanms.com. Welcome, homecoming queen of the show. Hello.
Hello.
So.
Hey, Beaver.
Hey, Annabeth.
Beaver, I'm sorry your team lost.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. I really like that. I really like the quarterback, so I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
But I was pulling for the Chiefs.
Hey, and Beaver.
But I like him.
Did you come away from it the same way I did once it was all over going, you know what, that was a heck of a ball game? Or did you feel otherwise?
No, it was an awesome game, and that's one of the only couple of things I can take away feeling good about that is, I mean, came down to 3 seconds left in overtime. You don't get that often.
That's exactly right.
It really was exciting.
It was.
It was fun to watch.
You know, it was exciting. Okay, you have overtime, but it also ramped up as the game went on. It's not like it started out a shootout. It kind of got going and picked up speed and everything, and we'll get into the commercials later. But on that note, you Annabeth, have a list.
Top 5.
Of your top 5 favorite things that came out of last night's Super Bowl.
Okay.
All right, so start where you want to start.
Number one. The Sonic Boom.
The Sonic Boom on the halftime show.
That was great. They were great.
Okay, and full disclosure for me, while we're watching it, which I love a marching band, I had stepped in the other room. You were like, Matt, there's a marching band on here.
I know, and full disclosure on my end, I didn't know they were going. My mom said it was reported all over the news in Jackson, and I don't know if I've just been under a rock or what.
We didn't know.
But I now follow them on all their social media, so I'll be ready. They were so good. I thought they were fantastic.
Okay, so number 1 was the Sonic Boom at halftime. I'm with you on that.
Number 1. Number 2 was the Mississippi players that won.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, guys from Mississippi on the Chiefs team. Of course, Chris Jones, he had a tremendous effect on the game. The guy has just been so good, and there were multiple key plays last night, including, like, if you look at the last, well, let's see, was it the overtime?
He stopped him on that third down.
Yeah,
remember?
He did, but he also had the pressure on the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, it caused him to throw it in the ground.
Well, he threw it out of the back of the end zone, or else it's going to be touchdown all day. And if he's not pressuring him, and I think that led to a field goal, but it would have been TD, the guy's wide open, if he's not bearing down on the quarterback. And then Willie Gay was in on a bunch of big plays, and so, yeah, how about that?
And they did some neat little stories on those two guys up here just locally. I've got a mint in my mouth. I'm sorry. It's making noise.
No, you're
anyway, I was really happy for them, and of course, Chris Jones made me want to cry when he was crying during the national anthem. I mean, come on. You got to love the guy.
Yep. I'm with you.
All right. Number 3, I kept it Mississippi. I like that we had our Mississippi ref.
Mississippi referee Brad Freeman. Who got tons of FaceTime.
He got a
screen
lot.
Time.
There was a lot of Mississippi on there.
So
those are my top 3.
So before the captains went out to midfield, which is like this big moment, big lead up, Reba sang the national anthem, and they cut to the 49ers captains before they walked to midfield, and there's Brad standing next to him, you know.
That's great. Okay, Usher.
Oh,
I loved the halftime. I don't know about everybody else. I've seen mixed reviews all over social media about it. I loved it. I love Usher. I thought he did great. I felt like I was back in the day with all that music. Mary Liddy thought it was really funny of us for knowing all those songs.
Somebody else commented, Annie, and said, I just want to thank Usher for actually sweating like a real person would sweat if you were doing all that.
You know what I appreciated? He was out there entertaining, and he's 45. Mary Liddy goes, "How old is he?" And I'm like, "Mary Liddy, he's 45."
Boy, he is in fantastic shape.
Anyway, I thought Ludacris, Lil Jon, I don't know. I just thought they did well. I thought it was good. And my favorite commercial was the Kia commercial, where the little girl wanted to ice skate, and her grandfather wasn't well enough to go and watch her, so the dad drives her. I think it was Kia. I can't even remember.
It was Kia. Yeah.
The message was so sweet, and they drive through the snow and ice in the Kia and get to the cabin, and he watches out the window, and the dad sets up the ice rink and the music and the lights, and he puts a 10 on the window.
Absolutely.
And I was crying.
It was
crying.
It was a story.
It was cute
and it was
sweet.
moving.
It was heartfelt.
Like huge win for them. Like if it moves you.
It was. I mean, in 30 seconds, if you're crying, they've done their job.
Or laughing. See,
Well,
that's the other thing.
yeah.
Like if it incites some sort of emotion, which that
I
did.
remembered that one the most.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. And then my most favorite thing about the entire game was when Patrick Mahomes gave God all the glory at the end of the game, and Purdy is such an outspoken Christian. I just thought, hats off to these guys for using this huge platform, to raise attention to their faith and give him all the credit.
Yeah, and Clark Hunt, who is the son of Lamar Hunt, the family that's owned the Chiefs for all those years. And Lamar Hunt actually started the AFL, which was opposite the NFL before they joined and everything. And they're very outspoken Christians, and he thanked God on the stage and all. Okay, so things you didn't like.
Okay.
Top 5 things you didn't like from the Super Bowl.
Okay, top 5 things I didn't like. I did not like Kelsey yelling at Andy Reid.
Okay, and we're going to get into that.
And I know you're going to talk about it.
Well, and I will just give like a surface level take on it.
I hated it. I thought it was disrespectful.
Well, my thing is, I don't care really what the scenario is. You can't do that. And what I hope is that millions of young people that watched it, young players, young athletes realize just because they did it and got away with it, I can't do that.
You've never done that.
No, and wouldn't do it. And you just can't do that is the point.
Terrible example.
Right.
I thought Kelsey was a terrible example. And then I thought his girlfriend chugging what appeared to be a beer and slamming it down. It's been all over social media over and over. And I thought, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And I'm not trying to hate on the whole Taylor and Travis stuff, whatever. I don't care anything about it, but it's just so in your face. And both of them, I just thought you had every chance to be good role models. Obviously, they don't care. Because I thought both of them were terrible.
Whatever will get a chuckle from the quote unquote cool kids in the back of the class, that's what we'll do for clicks and attention these days. And that's what that is.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Those are my top 2. Number 3, I thought the stage was too small at the awards.
It was tiny.
And I really was upset that Chris Jones wasn't up there. I felt like he should have been up there. I would have rather heard from him. I wanted to hear from him. All right. Number 4, I did not like, and you may disagree on this. Beaver, you may disagree too. I did not like the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, J-Lo. I think it was Dunkin' Donuts.
It was Dunkin' Donuts.
I just thought it just fell flat. Like I thought, oh, this is going to be funny. And then I thought, no, this is just awkward.
That's what I thought.
I didn't love it. And they could have really been funny. It
just wasn't funny.
It was
I
stupid.
couldn't, it was kind of dumb.
There were a lot of dumb commercials this year, but I thought that one, I don't know. I did not like it. And then I also, number 5, I did not like Peyton Manning trying to come out and being a sellout, trying to make some beer company cooler. I don't know. I just got a bad vibe from it.
Yeah, me too.
And then the one thing I learned you had to teach me was about the overtime rules in the playoffs are different from regular season NFL, because I usually hate the playoff. I mean, I usually hate the overtime for NFL.
Right. Because it could
But I liked these rules. Yeah.
Well, I did too, because the regular season overtime can lead to a tie.
Right.
It can. So a game can end in a tie in a regular season, which obviously you're not going to do that in the playoffs. You have to have a winner. The other thing is,
but you get a chance.
That's it. In the regular season, their overtime rules can also lead to a team never getting a chance to even have the ball, just only playing defense.
Yeah, I always hate
depending on a coin toss. And, it's been debated and all that kind of stuff over the years, but it stayed the same. They changed it for the playoffs. But, Annie, I don't know if you saw this. I was reading about it a little bit ago. There are a bunch of so the 49ers won the coin toss at the beginning of overtime.
Right.
And chose to take the football because in NFL overtime in the regular season, everybody takes the football if you win the coin toss, because if you score a touchdown first, game over.
So you're thinking they should have opted.
And their players and folks are saying they didn't really realize the overtime rules were different in the playoffs.
Well, how could they?
They even had one of their players quoted as saying, "Yeah, I didn't even realize it was that different until they showed the rules on a jumbotron in the stadium."
Oh, that might be something that
that is a big deal, right? Because you win the toss, you're in the playoffs, you're in the Super Bowl. You're almost going, it might be better to let them go first.
Oh.
Then regardless of what they do, we know how to approach our possession because we're going to get the ball.
Wait, I did not know that.
I know. Chris Jones gave a quote after the game. Yes, we all as a team had studied it and even had a plan for the playoffs going all the way back to training camp, that in the playoffs, if you win the toss, give the other team the ball, and that way if they don't have a touchdown, we take the ball, we go score, we'll go for two. He said we had a plan for it.
So they were prepared.
So when 49ers won the toss and took the ball first,
they were not prepared.
It was exactly what the Chiefs wanted to happen.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that something?
Drama.
Cool list, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. You and Beaver can dissect it.
We'll do that, and y'all let us know your opinion on it coming up. Text, call, your comments. We'll get all that started next on this Reaction Monday, post Super Bowl, 58 maybe, something like that. Chiefs win again. Stick around. Y'all heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now.
Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com, at a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here, leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. When you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a...
Zone1059.com.
All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go! The home team, Beavers here. HQ here for a few more minutes. Get to hang out together a little bit at the beginning of the shows. Post it later on. And then she moves on. She's got stuff to do today. She's got a schedule to keep, people to see, things to do. All in a day's work. So get on in here. You can text me. I hope you will text the show on the Country Pleasing text line. The number to text is 885-3776. Got it? That's a 601 number, 885-3776. You can also call me on the Divini phone, the Divini equipment phone line. 897-1059. That's a 601 number, 897-1059. What'd you think? And what about Kelsey bumping into Andy Reid? Just brush it off, no big deal? I mean, that's kind of what they've said about it. You think it is no big deal? I can promise you from just about 99% of the rest of the football playing world, it would be a big deal. I'm just telling you. And if you're a young person out there, young player out there, just trust me. Just because Kelsey did it and got away with it does not mean you're going to get away with it. Trust me on that. Excuse me, I was supposed to turn that down. All right, the first comment I got today, Annie, on the Murray West live thread. Go to murraywest.com, contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Sven, who is all the way over in Berlin, Germany, he said, Hail State, everybody. He says, man, Andy Reid lucked up on this one. He said, if it wasn't for the punt returner, who shouldn't touch the ball, San Francisco will win the game, no doubt. And he thinks Brock Purdy was great in the game. But congrats, KC. He says he was wrong because he had picked the 49ers to win 31-24. Yeah, so the ball did kick off the foot of the kick returner, or the up back, or one of the protectors, teammates on the punt return situation. But the guy, the punt returner, was doing what he was supposed to do for the 49ers because he realized that he had hit the guy's foot, a teammate's foot. And so he was doing what he was supposed to do. Jeff commented on YouTube, said, congrats, Matt. Having a generational talented quarterback is a luxury. He's a Niners fan. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Mahomes is just, he's incredible. And it sounds like, like somebody coming out here trying to make a statement, get you all riled up and get a reaction out of you. I don't mean it that way. I genuinely believe it. I thought it watching it last night. I lived through as a kid and young teenager coming up watching Michael Jordan for the Bulls, this one guy who was transcendent. He's the best I'd ever seen do this. And I know the Super Bowl numbers are different from Brady, but the way Mahomes does it, the way he plays, he is the closest thing. I'm not saying he is Michael Jordan to the NFL. I'm saying he is the closest thing to the NFL version of Michael Jordan that I think I've seen, the way he plays. Now, I know it's a big statement. Tell me I'm crazy. Go right on ahead. All right, over the text line, Annie, the country pleasing text line. Thank you.
Yeah.
For country pleasing sausage in the house. Got to eat some during the Super Bowl. Grumpy texted the show and said, Matt, 95, that'd be Chris Jones, was Grumpy's MVP. He kept Brock Purdy only good, not great, meaning kept him from being great. Says you have to be great to beat Mahomes. Of course, when it got to overtime, Mahomes did what he does. He wins. Saturday Bulldogs win was huge also. He also says that he enjoyed Reba and the Sonic Boom. I like Reba, fan. I didn't think that her version of the national anthem was all that great.
Yeah. Mary Lydia and I missed it. We were at church, so we got back a little late, so we went back and watched it on YouTube. I didn't love it. I mean, I like her too, but it wasn't my favorite. But I mean, I'm glad she did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's neat, but it is not easy. I mean, you're out in a big stadium and all that, but it just wasn't that great.
Yeah, that's right.
PT for MSU texts the show and says, great game last night. Oh, yeah, and PT, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Nick texts the show and said, okay, Taylor, meaning Swift, Nick says, can dump old boy now and cash in on another $100 million with the breakup song.
That's hilarious.
It really is true, too, isn't it?
It really is.
He says, and now that the nonsense is over, it's time to focus on what really matters. Friday, 4 o'clock, college baseball season starts.
Oh, that's great.
The breakup song. It'd break records, probably.
It would.
Y'all would put it out there today.
It would.
Toe texted the show and said Chris Jones was the difference in that ball game last night. Well, see, okay, I think, Toe, difference is the right word to use for him in the game and the way he played. 2 or 3 clutch, even that I can just remember off the top of my head without going back and dissecting film, where plays are going to be very big plays for the 49ers if he's not basically hitting the quarterback, flushing the quarterback. Again, the throw, I think it was a pump screen, going to throw it over their head for a touchdown down there in the end zone. The guy's open. He's behind it. Purdy has to juice it and get it out. He knows he's about to get pummeled and can't see where he's throwing the ball because he's getting hit by Chris Jones. If there's no pressure there, he stands there and throws a touchdown. Real nonchalant-like.
Put Chris Jones on the stage.
Really, they probably should.
I mean, I would have rather than he should have been interviewed instead of Kelsey singing all those stupid songs.
Yeah. Mac in Vicksburg says, is Andy Reid the GOAT, meaning the greatest of all time?
You kept calling his play calls brilliant.
Yeah.
You really did.
Well, okay, so the winning, play when they were down there, a couple of things they did at the end of regulation where he has a knack for stuff that you hadn't seen in this game and you didn't see it in the last game, and it might have been 6 games ago that you saw it, is the last time you saw it. But he'll have it ready and dialed up for a specific time, call it at the perfect time right now, and not only call it and have it where you can call it, but his team can execute it. They're ready to execute the thing flawlessly. Now, a lot of that's because of your personnel. This is what I would say, Mac. To me, this whole coach versus quarterback thing has become pretty clear, right? Look at Belichick without Brady. It's a whole different animal for Belichick. Not that he isn't and wasn't a great coach. There was this right mix with the right quarterback. But you take the players away, it's just like we're sitting here going, Andy Reid. Well, what is Andy Reid like with the Chiefs, maybe, if he doesn't draft Patrick Mahomes and draft Chris Jones? What if you don't draft those 2 guys? What are we saying about Andy Reid? This is what I'll say. He absolutely is one of the greatest all-time play callers in football history, no question. It's hard for you to go, well, he's the greatest head coach of all time. There's others who've won 3 Super Bowls. Now, he's coached 2 different teams to a Super Bowl. He got the Eagles to 1, didn't win it. He's been to 4 now with Kansas City, won 3 of them. Okay, he's the greatest. He's one of the greatest play callers ever, no question about it. Annie, you're just sitting over there watching me talk.
I'm waiting. I'm not trying to interrupt. Where is Beaver on here?
He's on here, yeah.
Beaver, what did you think about the commercials?
They were fine.
You didn't love them?
No.
There weren't they were a little disappointing overall, weren't they?
Well, I mean, no, because I'm so used to being disappointed by them. They haven't been what they used to be.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I didn't think it was the worst batch.
Yeah.
Did you cry when the little girl was ice skating?
I did not.
Did it pull at your heartstrings?
It did not.
It's a female thing.
Hey,
it's a female thing.
Somebody on the text line shared with me this graphic, and it shows Kelsey, yelling at Andy Reid, and then it has a list of common side effects of the COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine that he's constantly pushing, on the commercial. He's paid to endorse it, and one of the common side effects is irritability.
There you go. Let's just chalk it up to that. And a lot of people are taking up for him and saying, well, they came out and said this, and this, and look, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We all saw it in real time as far as what he did, and it was just rude.
On YouTube, Jeff said, Beaver doesn't want to talk about this game, and I can't blame him. LOL.
I'm sorry, Beaver.
Chuck says, people throw the word GOAT, meaning greatest of all time, around too much these days. It's become a cliche talking point now, and it kind of has, to a degree. Yeah.
Spit it out.
In a commercial deal, I will say this too. Okay, the Super Bowl and these incredibly expensive commercials have always been something where you'd have, very unique beer commercials. Okay, frankly, the one that they threw Peyton Manning into it's not memorable at all. It's neither moving and really wasn't intended to be, but it's not moving, so you don't remember it. It's not spectacular, so you don't remember it. And it's not funny, so it's not memorable in any way. And you touched on it. I kind of smirk at it too, because you can spot the celebrities who are the biggest sellouts. You can spot them a mile away.
Well,
there's nothing that they won't promote.
For money. And honestly, I don't think we put a whole lot of stock in most celebrities these days.
We really don't.
Back in the day, it may have been a little different, but
right.
You just kind of look at them now and shake your head and think, oh.
So therefore, the ones that do either elicit real laughter or real tears really stand out because they kind of stand alone at their moving. The other thing is movie previews and trailers.
Yeah, that was fun.
You always get those in the Super Bowl, and those were kind of up and down, and like some good and some not.
We had a 12-year-old excited about Wicked.
Yeah.
The movie.
So there's some of that in there also. All right, more of your texts coming up in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
Now's the time to get a great deal on proven Kubota farming equipment. Tractors that are adaptable, versatile, and rated #1 in durability.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town, someone's on the side of the road broken down, hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. You know, that's just kind of, you know, what I love about this area, the blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. You know, I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. You know, when you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a wreck, you know, get pulled over, you know, need an insurance card, wind blows, you know, shingles off your roof. All these things happen, and it's typically after 5. And so the ability for someone to call me, get in contact with me, text me, ask me a question, and that's what it's about to me, is helping the people that we serve, is taking care of people and them knowing that they can count on me whenever they need me. I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, you know, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough.
You're going to hear about them all and get to talk about it with Matt Wyatt right here, right now on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Did you know that Patrick Mahomes was Kansas City's leading rusher in the ball game last night? You know, Pacheco, had 18 carries for 59 yards. I mean, an average of 3 yards. He had a long run of 10. There was nothing there. And that's the 49ers defense for you. Mahomes goes for 66 yards, had a long run of 22, and averaged 7 yards a carry. You could argue offensively, that was the difference in the game for the Chiefs in a couple of key situations. The country pleasing text line. Let's roll on here. Post Super Bowl. Judy texted me. Said, hey, Matt, did you ever see Sarah Thomas refereeing in the Super Bowl? Well, you know, was it this one or was it a previous Super Bowl? I couldn't remember. Beer Slayer texted the show and said, Matt, congrats on your Chiefs winning. And to Chris Jones and Willie Gay, Hail State. Baseball starts on Friday. Praise the Lord. Any news on who's starting opening day on Friday? No, I don't have any news on that. I mean, am I crazy to just sort of assume? I've been assuming that it would be Sanja, but if it's not him, who do you think it'll be? Bodine Dog texts the show and says, Matt, what did you think about the kickers? Thought they were great except for the one, right? I mean, how big was that missed extra point for the 49ers? And the deal was, as they showed on the replay, he's missing that anyway. It wouldn't have mattered if they didn't block it. They blocked it because he hit it so poorly. And if they hadn't batted it, that thing wasn't going through the uprights anyway. So how big was the missed extra point, right? Because they win the game by a point or something turns out different, I know that much, than a tie game at the end. Dennis, formerly of Omaha, texts the show. Says, Kelsey seems to have anger issues that go beyond a passion to win. Well, I don't know that Dennis would I know we have the incident last night. If you're looking for others like that, there's been a few things where there's the most, like he threw his helmet, right, in that one ball game. And then there's some anger issues there with a lot of guys, if that's what, is an indicator of anger issues. But what I have said is this. I guess I've framed it up a different way, Dennis. And maybe it's just right there on the surface, and it is obviously this very high-profile relationship that he's in. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's that simple. But he has been different this year. I mean, he still makes plays. Look at him last night. In the clutch, he, like his quarterback, he still makes plays. He made catches and runs last night that were like all-timer. Chiefs fans will never forget it, okay? You think about the 2 touchdowns he had in the, the Miami game, or was it Buffalo? It was one of those first 2 playoff games. He's a special player. There's no question about it. But like emotionally, he has been a different guy most of the year. And Dennis, most of the year, what I pointed out is that he was less emotional. When I say emotional, like to me, over the years, up through even like last year, he'd always been pretty healthy. And he was the guy who he was emotionally happy all the time. He having a good time. And like he would have times where winning, losing, hot, cold, first quarter, fourth quarter, didn't matter. He looked like he was the guy having the most fun on the field playing football. He had that sort of flair about him. Well, that went away this year. And I wondered, it could be because he was hurt a lot early in the season, playing through that and, all this stuff. Maybe that was it. And then you're right, sort of when emotion did come back for him, it was different. It was like he'd been mad. Jake from Yazoo texted me. He said, hope everyone enjoyed the Super Bowl. Thanks for the name recommendations on Friday. Yeah, for the new puppy. He said it was between Kelsey or Kitty Lane. He says, well, I think we have to go with the winner. So he's naming the puppy Kelsey. Matt from Brandon texts the show and says, was the trick play that the 49ers did a great call, or did it just happen to work and not get intercepted on the throwback? Well, I mean, if it works, it's a great call. And the way that it was designed too, where they knew how the Chiefs were going to defend it and in what situation they were going to call against a certain defensive formation, so that when you had the throwback happen, you had, 2 more blockers than defenders? It was like 2-on-1 blocking out there. 2 defenders, 4 blockers, walk in the end zone. It was a great play call. That's what that was. Don in Madison. He says, Matt, come on, man. Reba's 68 years old now. I was wondering if Homecoming Queen could win Homecoming Queen again. Well, look, we like Reba. Okay, and it's not like we were dogging it. We just said it wasn't that great. I mean, you got to admit, Don, really. It is what it is. Okay, we all approve of Reba being there, doing it. Did she knock it out of the park? Well, maybe not, but who are we to judge? Okay, it wasn't that great. It just wasn't. Nick, you cracked me up, man. We're sitting here talking about Super Bowl commercials, and Nick texts me and says, Richard Schwartz with another banger. Hey, look, you got to give him credit now, right? A wrestling commercial where the lawyer, like Richard Schwartz, he's wearing like a bodysuit where it looks like he's got big muscles in his arms. And they had a stunt double doing wrestling moves and stuff. You got to admit, that was fun. That was funny. It was funny to the point that it's memorable. You will remember it. Yeah. Here's a really good point, too, from an unnamed texter. Says, special teams volatility favored the Chiefs. Look, it did. Right? They've been good on special teams all year. And better than most. And, take advantage of those mistakes. St. Louis Vic, he texts the show, Country Pleasing text line. He says, people seem to forget that Andy Reid has a long relationship with the Kelces. When Travis was coming out of high school, he had baggage, and Coach Reid looked to Jason and then told Travis that he had a shot. If he messes up, he'll have a problem. It was definitely a bad look, though. Okay, they do have a history. And I guess, it is tough to frame something like that up sometimes if you're a talking head out here, because we are what? We live in a hot take world where the hotter the take, the more the clicks. Ain't that what I'm supposed to be doing? Well, okay, that's the way everybody approaches it. Well, so you would think we're going to draw a real clear line here, and I'm either going to defend Kelce and tell anybody that thinks this was a big deal that they're blowing it out of proportion, or I'm going to hammer him and say that they should have benched him even though it was a Super Bowl, and now they got to consider whether to keep him on the team. There's nuance in all this, okay? It could be a thing, Vic, where because of the relationship between Kelce and Andy Reid, number one, Kelce feels comfortable enough to show his emotions and go yell at him, okay, because of the relationship. Because of the relationship, Andy Reid's not going to bench the guy during the game. He knows him. There's a relationship there. I get all that. I guess the other reality in it is what I said earlier. 999 football players out of 1,000 at all levels of football. If you do anything remotely similar to that, to your football coach, you are at least going to get benched during that game. And at most, you off the team. You can forget it. Go let a high school kid try that with his coach on a high school Friday night. Watch what happens. Okay, and a lot of those high school kids, their daddy will be the first one down there snatching a knot in his tail. Boy, what do you think you're doing? We're going to have a talk when we get home after this game. But I get it. It's different depending on the level and who it is and where it is and what it is. There may even be, we don't know, there may even be guys on that team that, other than Kelce, that if they pulled something like that, now we got a problem. I guess the point that I'm making here is emotions are high. And there is something, okay, to credit Kelce to the idea that he wasn't yelling saying, throw me the ball. He was yelling saying, I should have been the one blocking on that play and we'd have scored, which is what you've been told. That's from a football X's and O's standpoint. That's okay. What I say, though, is I just think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake that he gets away with in this situation because of, one, who he is and the kind of player he is and his track record, and two, because of his relationship with that coach. That's why he gets away with it. Is it a mistake? It's a mistake. It's a mistake he gets away with. Sometimes we make mistakes that we get away with. That's one that he made that you get away with. What I'm saying is, if you think you can just automatically go out and emulate his mistake, Travis Kelce did it. I'm going to show my rear end at my coach. Okay, watch what happens. It's a mistake you ain't getting away with. I think that's the best way I can sum it up. All right. Man, that went by fast. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming up in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. Stick around.
Today's game from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Time was their breakfasts were gloomy. They just didn't feel right.
and they didn't know a delicious cereal could help their sad plight. So they tried this and tried that, but irregularity kept coming back all the same. For as often the case, lack of bulk in their diet was actually to blame. Once at the grocer's, the wife was so drooping and sagging that a neighbor said, "Get on Kellogg's All-Bran wagon. Why, All-Bran has a flavor that's scrumptious to eat. So rich and nut-like, makes breakfast a treat. And of course, Kellogg's All-Bran can help you each day to youthful regularity, the dietary way." "Well, it might do some good," said the wife with a sigh. "Guess I'll get some All-Bran and give it a try." Soon, breakfasts at her house were happy and bright, for delicious Kellogg's All-Bran set their day off right. Yes, All-Bran supplies all the bulk in your diet, you see, that you may need for youthful regularity. And no half-brand cereal possibly can provide this help as surely as Kellogg's All-Bran. A delicious, non-habit-forming aid to your diet. You're sure to like All-Bran. Just buy it and try it.
Get on the Kellogg's All-Bran wagon with the best bran in the land. The cereal that tastes grand, the cereal that's All-Bran, a breakfast treat that can't be beat. Be a regular guy and climb aboard the All-Bran wagon. Eat Kellogg's All-Bran.
What is the secret of this enchanted book? What wonders are hidden within its pages? What magical spell does it cast on all who read it? What is the secret of the never-ending story?
But that's impossible!
You will enter a world where a young boy's imagination becomes a vivid reality. The world of Atreyu and Artax, the Rockbiter, and a good and kind gnome. A world that is vast and eternal, treacherous and dazzling, unforgettable and free. For anyone who's ever made a wish, believed in a fantasy, or had a dream, this is the never-ending story.
It's a new thing, it's a fun thing, it's a swing wing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing, it's a wing wing. A brand new transparent fun thing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing. A fun thing. And now it's your favorite store thing.
It's a what?
Mazda announces some great news for truck buyers. Right now, you can beat the already outstanding value of the $67.95 Mazda SE5. Introducing Mazda SE5 Plus 5. $625 worth of extra features at no extra charge from Mazda. You get a bed liner, mud guards, sliding rear window, floor mats, and AM/FM stereo. That's a $625 value at no extra charge. But hurry, offer ends soon.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff.
baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com. You go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough.
And worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At thezone1059.com.
All right. Back with you. Hour number 2. Off and running. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team. I got a big kick out of something that Brando sent us. A couple of Super Bowl related memes, and they used The Office to illustrate it. A couple of them. That second one, though, was really funny there. Brando, I got a kick out of that one. Andy Reid on the sideline, and there's Kelsey, yelling, but instead of Kelsey's face, they photoshopped Michael Scott's face yelling, "Where are the turtles?" I appreciate that, Brando. I got a kick out of it. I showed it to the homecoming queen. She likes it too. She sent back the laughing emoji. She appreciated that one. So as we start hour 2, connected to you because of C Spire, the number 1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. Hey, check it out. Hey, remember, heads up. You want something free? How about 2 months worth of free service? C Spire Fiber Home Internet. C Spire Fiber Internet. You can get it if it's available in your area, and you can get the first 2 months of C Spire Fiber Internet free if you use code Wyatt at checkout. Okay, so, and you can go to cspire.com and check and see, where it's available and in, the neighborhood where you are. If it is, sign up there online or even talk to them on the phone and just use code Wyatt at checkout, WYATT, my last name, and that'll save you some money. Get your first 2 months of C Spire Fiber Home Internet absolutely free. All right, headlines today. Well, let's hit them. They're kind of the same as hour 1, but you may be new. You may have just tuned in or just gotten out for lunch and whatever, late lunch or getting out early or driving up through this way and listening in. So let's hit headlines. Every day our headlines are brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage and Went McGee, the mortgage man. Went! What's up, man? They've got locations in Ridgeland, now in Starkville, Oxford, and Tupelo. That's Bank of England Mortgage and Went McGee. And your headlines, here we go.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world.
Good evening and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Here's what's making news.
Here we go. Headlines brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage and Went McGee, the mortgage man. Chiefs win. 25-22 in OT. Stats in a game, Mahomes goes for 333 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, throws a pick. He's the MVP of the game. Not the first time he's been that. He was also the team's leading rusher. 9 carries, 66 yards, average over 7 yards a carry. Brock Purdy, 23 of 38, 255, a touchdown, no picks. Also caught. No, sorry. Did he have a reception? No, he didn't. That was McCaffrey. Got it. Moving on. What about the shove? What about the Reid and Kelsey shove on the sideline? They're playing it off after the game and during. Andy Reid said he caught me off balance. I wasn't watching. He said he was coming over saying, just put me in. And so he wanted in the ball game. He was obviously, amped up, and a lot of discussion about it today. I guess what we need to know is that after the ball game, both have said it's not as big a deal as it might have looked, and we are moving on. And on the basketball front over the weekend, Mississippi State got their first road win of the year. Went to Missouri and got the win. Didn't start out great. It kind of felt like you're letting Missouri hang around, but then turned it on and shot the ball pretty well, especially Shaq Moore. Had a day where he was perfect from 3, a perfect 4 for 4 from 3. And so they pick up a win, and They're off in the midweek this week. Look ahead to next weekend, host a home game on Saturday, and try to build off a little momentum here after wins over Georgia and Missouri back-to-back. Get a time to rest, maybe get DJ Jeffries back, Trey Fort, see if you can get them back, and get ready for the home stretch here. Ole Miss plays tomorrow night. They were off on Saturday. So those are a few of your headlines brought to you by Bank of England Mortgage and Went McGee, the Mortgage Man. Visit them online at mortgagemanms.com. First-time home buyers, they've got a special program. They've allocated up to $1.5 million total towards the purchases of new homes. And so if you, that's money that you can have access to get in that first home, and you don't have to pay it back if you stay in the house for up to 5 years. And so check it out, mortgagemanms.com. Back over to the text line, the country pleasing text line. Text me at 885-3776. Number to text, 885-3776 or 885-ESPN. That's another way to remember it. St. Louis Vic says, I'm not defending Kelsey regardless of the situation. You have to control your emotions. And he said, I was just pointing out the relationship between the two going back to his being drafted by Coach Reed and the fact that he, Kelsey, was on a short leash coming in. He may get some slack now, but that hasn't always been the case. He says, all love here, Brother Wyatt. Yeah, I'm with you, St. Louis Vic. I appreciate the info. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And again, you're talking about a player who is a major piece, talent-wise, making clutch plays for this, having this uncanny sort of connection with this transcendent quarterback and this organization that's now won multiple Super Bowls and is about to try next year to go get 3 in a row, right? That's what we're talking about here. It's a unique situation on top of what you've pointed out, which is a unique relationship between the two. And that's fine. It's fine for situations to not be the same in one place as they are in a different place. And it's fine. All those things factor in. I think what I was pointing out is for Travis Kelce, losing hold of your emotions in a moment, especially in a Super Bowl, to the point where you not just yell something at the coach, but bump into him, right? That is a mistake. And if you get away with it, okay, you get away with it because of the relationship, whatever else, that's great. Other people ain't getting away with that because it is a mistake. You got to rein that in. And I'm one to talk. My whole life I was somebody who I could get hot-headed and yell and scream and like either immediately regret it or regret it later. Regardless, we've all been there. But I'm saying the outside looking in, it's a mistake. You can't point to it and say, "Oh, it's fine." It's not fine. Right? No matter who it is. Vic also said he remembers getting rocked by his coach with the paddle back in the day. He said, I never once thought about hitting him back. Yeah. Paddlings went out the window. Bodine says Matt went with his pastor to see his mom, and they watched the Super Bowl on Nickelodeon. It was great. I heard some stuff about that. Of course, I've heard about it over the years, and I never took to watching it myself, where they do the kind of the cartoonish on-screen graphics and stuff. And maybe it was great. I kind of hate I missed it. I might have to look at it on a replay and see. Yeah, okay. All right. And okay, so our unnamed texter here says that, this is a situation where treating somebody fairly is more important than treating everybody the quote unquote same per se. And yeah, I think that's right. You know, and again, if you were to use the most extreme example here, and this is an extreme example, but it does sort of make the point that it seems like we're all touching on here a little bit. I'm not defending what Travis Kelce did, okay, during the course of the game. Hey, I'm a big star. I'm dating Taylor Swift, and I'm mad, boy, and I'm going to let it loose for all the cameras, the whole world to see, to the point that I even bump into my coach. You just cannot do that. I'm not defending that at all, okay? But let's use the most extreme hypothetical example. What if Michael Jordan, when he was playing for the Bulls, gets mad and pops off at Phil Jackson, and it's caught on cameras, or they scream at each other at practice, or even in a game? Well, that's Michael Jordan. It's a little different than if Steve Kerr had done it when he was on the Bulls team, right? Right. I mean, this wasn't Harrison Butker, the kicker, that went in there and screamed at Coach Reed and bumped into him. You know, that whether we like it or not, there is an element of that. And then how it's said. You know, the other thing, too, that we hadn't probably touched on enough, though, is the way that it was handled by Andy Reid. It would be really easy to, in the heat of the moment, okay, as the one who, you're not the instigator, okay, but you're the recipient of this tirade. And in the heat of the moment, your blood boils, and then you turn, and here we go. We got a shouting match between coach and player, and it becomes this big thing that could even become a distraction and start to affect the sideline and affect the game and unsettle you and unsettle, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not careful. And here's this guy who's a Hall of Fame coach. There's no question about it. And in the heat of the moment, this happens. The guy even bumps into him. And how did Andy Reid handle it? Immediately, his attention, I think, is on the greater purpose and the greater scene going on, in that we got to win this game. Everything that's happening right now, every single play is important. I can't let this melt down over here. Let's just diffuse this situation. I'm almost going to pretend as though I didn't even see it. He's got on a headset. You know good and well, every coach and every staff member has got on a headset. He probably could have very easily said something in the headset like, hey, guys, y'all calm him down. Y'all calm him down, okay? Make sure he's cool. Tell him I'm cool and no big deal. We ain't going to make a big deal out of this. We got to go win the game. Tell him don't worry about it. Moving on. Right? He could have very easily done that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did in his own words. Probably fewer words than that. Hey, tell him to chill out. We're cool. No big deal. And that's the way a leader and winners handle stuff like that. You know, and let's be real here. This outburst, I know Kelce had a moment this year for the Chiefs where he threw his helmet, and you know, that was referenced last night when they reported on this stuff. You remember you had a game that the Chiefs lose. I think it was a home game that didn't like the officiating and something that happened. And Patrick Mahomes lost it. Remember that? I don't even remember who they were playing this year when that happened. But I mean, just absolutely lost it. Mahomes. And so it's not like Andy Reid hasn't dealt with some of this really heightened emotion stuff from his stars already this year. He has. And really, even more than Mahomes and more than Kelce and more, the guy who has handled it the right way every single time to the benefit of his team and his players and everybody else is Andy Reid. He's handled it the right way every single time. And that's part of being a head man and running not just a winning organization, having a winning team, but having a winning mindset. We are not going to be perfect all the time, but our leader, he has us in a winning, right kind of winning mindset. And so even when we do get off the rails, all he's got to do is glance at us and one little word here and there, and we're right back on the rails. That's a winning mindset. There's no question that it's because of Andy Reid. And really, today, if we're not giving him credit for that, we're missing the mark partly on it. Judy texts the show, Country Pleasing text line, 885-3776. And Judy says the host on the talk just talked about the Jackson State Band. Listen, the sonic boom on the halftime show with Usher. And Annabeth was on earlier. I don't know if y'all heard that or not. If you're just tuning in, you might have missed it. But Annabeth was here, and she made a list of her 5 favorite things from the Super Bowl. And number 1 was the sonic boom at halftime. And we admitted that, whether or not we've been living under a rock or not, I don't know, but we didn't know they were going to be out there. And I had stepped away, and she yelled at me. She knows I love marching band stuff. We didn't even know it was a sonic boom. And she said, Matt, they got a band out here. So I came running back in, I looked at it. It was great. And then after the fact, we learned, I don't know if she saw it on Facebook or what. She goes, hey, that was a sonic boom. Of course, they had on different uniforms. But you think about, like, how cool was that experience for the members of the Jackson State Band and everything? Like, how it doesn't get any better than that, does it? I mean, it can. Sven agrees. He's in Germany. He's on YouTube on the Murray West live thread. He said the boom is always great. They are. Danny commented and said, this is a good show today. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Chuck commented on YouTube on the Murray West live thread and said, fair or unfair, rainmakers get away with more. Did you mean, Chuck, you meant playmakers, didn't you? Or maybe guys that make it rain. I think you meant playmakers. Playmakers get away with more. He says the guy who generates $1 million in sales at work will get away with more than the guy who generates $100,000. Well, that's true. Maybe you did mean rainmakers. Yeah. Legba has a different take on it. He goes, I don't think a younger coach gets surprised like Reid was. He says a younger coach either yells back or laughs. Not a fireable offense. Football is an emotional game. Well, it is. And look, again, to Andy Reid to sort of diffuse the thing. After the game, what did he say? He said, I've gotten fat, so it was easy for him to knock me off my balance a little bit there. And I am glad that he didn't fall down. That would have been tough. I think. I think that would have been tough. Yeah. Let's see. Scott. What's up, Scott? Scott texts the show, Country Pleasing text line, with a real sure enough topic. He says, I'd like to get a little bit more information on the WMA turkey draws. Okay, Scott, when you say a little more info, you've got until the 15th. So what, through Thursday? Now I don't know what time of day, like if there's a deadline but I would think it would be all the way the whole 15th. The 15th is the deadline to apply for one of those draw hunts on the WMAs. Okay, wildlife management areas. You can go to mdwfp.com, Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks. Scott, go to mdwfp.com. On the homepage, you'll see it scrolls through several stories at the top of the page, and one of those is information about the WMA turkey draws. And when you click that, it takes you in there. It kind of spells it out for you. It mentions the WMAs, where the turkey hunts are available down there kind of at the bottom of the page. If that's not enough, let me know. Text me back on here and let me know. But that should be it. I know it did say that the 15th of February is a deadline to enter that. If you get drawn, I'm not an expert on it by any means, Scott, but what I was told is then if you get drawn, it means that you have then you'll have the pass, if you will, to have that 2-day hunt, and you'll know what 2 days you're signed up for between March the 15th and March the 31st, and what WMA you're going to and that sort of thing. But if you need anything else on that, let me know, or just call them. And that's another thing, Scott. When you see contact information, or you can find phone numbers and stuff on their website, don't hesitate to call them. I think a lot of times people don't realize that, even the home offices, you can just pick up the phone, call them, and talk to somebody. So maybe that helps. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. Yeah, I'm excited about what? So we're getting close. Turkey season starts at the beginning of March, so just a little more than 2 weeks. 2 weeks and 3 days? It'll be here before we know it. I was talking to recently, Scott, some folks that, well, I'll tell you who one of them was. Scott Berry, the retired baseball coach at Southern Miss. He's, this will be his first spring not to be coaching at Southern Miss in 20-something years, Now, obviously retired from coaching. And so really it's actually going to be his first spring where he could get neck deep in doing some turkey hunting. He's never really been able to do that his entire adult life because he's always coaching baseball. And he mentioned that back during COVID, 2020, when they canceled baseball season, that's one of the things he did. And he said he had the experience then of thinking, man, when I retire, this is what I'm going to get into. So I know he's excited. All right. Hour 2 in the Bureau, rolling along with you. I'm Matt Beavers here. Got the whole gang. Thanks for being here. Get your text, phone calls, comments in here. Whatever direction you want to go is cool with me. Stick around.
Inflation has hit us hard.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. When you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a wreck, get pulled over, need an insurance card, wind blows, shingles off your roof. All these things happen, and it's typically after 5. And so the ability for someone to call me, get in contact with me, text me, ask me a question, and that's what it's about to me, is helping the people that we serve, is taking care of people. and them knowing that they can count on me whenever they need me. I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. You need your logo.
And worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Back with you, I'm Matt, in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. Look at this. I've got a text here on the Country Pleasing text line. Yep, we did, by the way. We ate Country Pleasing sausage last night on a plate with all kinds of other food and goodies and stuff on it. Knickknacks. Big spread for the Super Bowl. It was very, very good. David in Brandon says, I'm of the opinion that if hypothetically Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback for San Francisco, they would never lose a game. Your thoughts? Well, okay. This is tough. This is tough, David. And let me start here. I can absolutely see where you're coming from. Patrick Mahomes is hands down the best quarterback in the NFL. Y'all, it's really not close. You go passing yards. Okay, whatever. I mean, he's probably at the top of that too. No, he's the best quarterback on the planet. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Okay, it's easier, certainly. Yeah, definitely, for me to stand here on Monday morning after he's just won another Super Bowl. He's played in 4, won 3, back-to-back now, going for 3 in a row. Okay, easy to say that. He's the best quarterback on the planet. I even said this in the first hour. If y'all want to have a debate on this, I'm happy to have it. The GOAT conversation, greatest of all time, all this kind of stuff. Patrick Mahomes is just getting started. We don't know what the future holds. He's got to stay healthy, all these things. Listen, he's just getting started. I know it. Brady, all those years, all those Super Bowls, he's got more than twice the number of Super Bowl starts that Mahomes does. Yep. All that, got it. All those rings. Went to another team and won one. Yes, got it. Understand it all. The point that I made is it's two totally different styles of playing a position between a Mahomes and a Brady, right? Brady never ran unless he was supposed he was supposed to run a quarterback sneak. Maybe there was a run every now and then, and he looked like a baby giraffe out there. Okay, and we'd all look worse. He's a great athlete, but compared to NFL guys, that's what he looked like running the ball. He did it in a totally different way from the pocket. It's just as impressive. I get it, but it's different. And the way that Patrick Mahomes plays and the way that he wins, name somebody who's like him. I'm talking historically. I'm saying, help me. Name the ones who we are supposed to compare Patrick Mahomes to. Who is it? Y'all saw what he did last night. Pacheco, he averaged 3 yards a carry. His longest run in the whole game was 10 yards, and they kept feeding him and feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. Mahomes is the leading rusher. A 22-yard run, the longest of the game. He averaged 7 yards a carry. You know, and we can save this for another day. Earlier, Sven on the Murray West Live thread was comparing Bill Russell and Michael Jordan because that debate always comes up. And that's, you know what I feel like? I think Mahomes-Brady is kind of like the argument between Jordan and Bill Russell in basketball. Kind of is. Okay, great. But, again, who in the history of football are we supposed to compare Patrick Mahomes to, especially when it comes to his style of play? The clutch factor. How many times they win in this postseason as an underdog? Oh, he's never played on the road in the playoffs. Went to Buffalo and went to Baltimore. I mean, no. The guy is really fast. And it's like he doesn't even show it unless it's absolutely the perfect time and he gashes somebody with it. Just like he did last night. Just like he's done in the playoffs. He has an uncanny ability to make the play in the most critical situation and do it right every time. It's incredible. Y'all help me out, really and truly. Help me out, because I can't come up with it. Who are we supposed to compare Patrick Mahomes to? Now, let's let his career finish out. We can have all these conversations down the road. But what I'm telling you is so far to this point, he's just getting started, and he's got 3 Super Bowl rings. He's about to go try to win 3 in a row. I get it. He's just getting started. And I believe he is the closest thing to the NFL version of a young Michael Jordan that I have seen. I know it's a weird comparison because it's 2 different sports. The point is, you felt that way about Michael Jordan. You did. He was hands down the best player in the world. He was hands down the one guy who could take just about any team around him and elevate them competitively to the point that you just couldn't beat them. You could have them down by whatever at halftime. You could be up late. You could have a better roster overall. You could have them on your court. It didn't matter. You knew he was going to elevate his team and find a way to beat you. And you couldn't always put a statistical something nugget beside it so that it helped you figure it out. Sometimes you just have to say, he will not allow himself to get beat. He'll absolutely rise to the occasion every time when the stakes are the highest. And that's what Patrick Mahomes does. There is no measure. There is no, analytical formula. There is no stat that will actually explain it to you or to me either. I'm telling you, I'm standing on it. Patrick Mahomes, young Patrick Mahomes, is the football equivalent of young Michael Jordan. Run, tell him I said it. With that said, David, thanks for the question. Yeah, they would lose because it's football. It's a team game. You got 10 other guys. Okay. He hasn't won every game he's played in Kansas City. Here's the deal. He's had an excellent team around him. He's had maybe the greatest offensive play caller in NFL history as a head coach. Okay, that helps. Find me another one that compares to Andy Reid at two different places. But here's another thought. This was supposedly the year that you could get the Chiefs because, they didn't have Tyreek Hill and people like that, and they went and got Tony, and he couldn't catch a cold, and things had gotten in his head, and Kelsey was hurt towards the beginning of the year. What about the defense? What about the best pass defense in the NFL? What about the best interior lineman in the NFL in terms of pressuring opposing quarterbacks and Chris Jones, who also can line up at defensive end? They can use him as a rush end whenever they want. And as a rush end, he has as high of a pressure rate as anybody in the NFL. Look it up. What about the Chiefs defense? Listen to this number. This was on Twitter, and let's see, it was Bruce Feldman that shared it. Patrick Mahomes is amazing, he says, but also really impressive that in the playoffs, get this, the Chiefs face the Dolphins with their speed, Josh Allen and the Bills, Lamar Jackson, the MVP and the Ravens, and the 49ers with all that skill, and Kansas City, their defense, allowed 4 total plays of 25 yards or more in the entire postseason. 4 of them. That blows me away. Think about the defense now. You played those 4 opponents, Chiefs, Dolphins, Bills, 49ers. Think about their offensive players. The Dolphins, Tyreek Hill and that bunch. The Bills, Josh Allen and Diggs and that bunch. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson and that bunch. The 49ers, McCaffrey and that bunch. You played those 4 teams, 16 quarters and 1 overtime quarter, and gave up a grand total of 4 plays that went for 25 yards or more. So my point is this. We have become, and you're not surprised by this, I'm kind of in there with you at times too. We have become a society of football fans that we care about offense. And we care about offensive explosive plays. And we care about quarterbacks. And we just don't really appreciate defense the way we probably ought to. And in some cases, we don't really even understand defense the way we ought to. The Chiefs' defense was an all-timer. And that 4-game playoff run by this Chiefs defense is an all-time great 4-game stretch for a defense in NFL playoff history. Guys like Patrick Mahomes and Jordan, they elevate their teams to that stuff, and you cannot explain it. They just do it. All right. We'll have time when we come back. Stick around.
Jerry, was that a bird?
No, just
I'm
folks.
Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage, these flavors and many, many others. Get them online at 𝐁𝐮𝐫𝐿 at a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, "Country Pleasing, please." And they'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. You get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. A little bit of time left with you here on this Monday. Get on in here. Yeah, I said, who does he remind you? Chuck, a lot of people that have been around long enough might bring this up. He said historically his style, meaning Mahomes, reminds me of Fran Tarkenton, retired as the NFL leader in passing yards, touchdowns, rushing yards by a quarterback. And he said the obvious difference is Tarkenton never won a Super Bowl. He was in Minnesota. But yeah, style of play, Mahomes, we didn't see anything like it. Now, Res Dog, he got a good one here. Res Dog got in a good one. He texted the show and said, Mahomes may be good, but he runs like an athletic Jack Sparrow. And you can certainly see that. Okay, but it definitely works. All right, over to the phone line, the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. Whole parking lot's full of orange tractors and things like that from Kubota. Madison and in Jackson. All right, on the phone line, Jimmy on line 1. Thanks for hanging on, Jimmy. What's up?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Just right.
Hey, look, I thought one big real reference point in the game was the missed PAT.
Mm-hmm.
Missed PAT was the point that the 49ers needed, and that would have forced the Chiefs to go for the touchdown before the game ended. And they would either made it or not, won or lost.
Right.
But I thought that was interesting. Another thing interesting is Hardman is out of Georgia. That KC Chiefs had 2 Georgia alum, and Hardman was the wide receiver that was traded for, I guess, back in the fall, and came to the Chiefs and ended up winning the game and catching the ball in the overtime touchdown.
Yeah.
But the reason why I called today, Matt, is I have to ask you about this, and it's in regard to discipline and personalities and what's in the best interest of the team. Travis Kelce going and kind of bumping and pushing Andy Reid in the middle of the Super Bowl and knocking his plays and everything out of his hand, and kind of it looked kind of like a bully type of situation. And I was wondering your thoughts on that, and will he be disciplined or will he be traded?
Yeah,
possibly. Or what is his? What do you think that's all about?
Doesn't appear that he's going to be, disciplined. Really, after the game was over, that both Andy Reid and Travis Kelce said, "Oh yeah, we're cool. Everything's fine. He's coming. We're going to be coaching and playing together next year, going for 3 in a row, and all those kinds of things." So, it doesn't appear like there's going to be any of that. And we covered it a good bit today, Jimmy, and I'll just kind of sum up my thoughts on it from earlier. It's this: a player losing his cool, yell, scream, in most cases, that's a mistake. But when it manifests to the point where it manifests into you hit the coach or bump into the coach, nearly knock him down, you just have let your emotions get the best of you. It was a mistake, okay? And 99 out of 100 players, you make that mistake, you got big-time discipline coming your way, and you should. That situation, it can't happen. Like, whatever they've got to do to get the message across to Travis Kelce, it's like, man, I don't care how many Super Bowls and how many catches and big plays, that can't happen. I guarantee you Kelce knows it can't happen again. You just can't do it. It was a mistake. So, but they got a long relationship. They've been together for 12 years. Reid drafted him. Like they go way back and all that. So as far as discipline, no. Is he going to play for the Chiefs next year? Yes. Was it a big mistake? Yeah. So, hey, and on the point of Mecole Hardman, came up with the Chiefs out of Georgia, and then he began this season. He was on the Jet squad, and the Chiefs went back and got him, and that was a big move for them. Jimmy, appreciate the call. Call me anytime. All right, thank you. Here's what it said in the story. Y'all have seen it by now, I'm sure, but anyway. Here it is. Partnership between Andy Reid and Travis Kelce will continue for a 12th season. Both said that after the game last night. They would return for another season rather than retire. Their relationship went through another rough patch in the second quarter. We got it. Was not the first confrontation between the two, won't be the last. Andy Reid said after the game he appreciated the veteran tight end's passion. Quote, "He caught me off balance. I wasn't watching. He was really coming over saying, put me in. So that's really what it was. I love that," he says. "It's not the first time. I appreciate him." Andy Reid said, "The part I love is he loves to play the game and he wants to help his team win. It's not a selfish thing." Okay. See, here's the deal. When Andy Reid says he wants to help his team win, that's what all this is about. It's not a selfish thing. Well, there's the heart of it right there. There's the heart of it right there. That's what I'm saying. Different situations are different. This is a coach who is interpreting this as, we've got a relationship. We love each other. We've been together for 12 years. Okay, he ain't trying to hurt me or whatever. He made a mistake. And I happen to know this guy. He's losing his cool over wanting to win, not because selfishly he wants another catch. And so there it is. Now, we can agree with it or not. We can call it what it is, and that is hey, anybody other than Kelsey does it, you probably got a big problem on your hands. In fact, young players out there, high school players, others, if you can hear my voice, do not try this at home. You understand me? I'm giving you great advice when I tell you, don't do this. Do not think that right there is a behavior or an example that you can emulate with your coach. If you do it, you're going to be sorry. Telling you. And some of you, I don't even need to say that. There's some kids out here on teams that know, and man, if I do this to my coach, that's it. The end. I'm done. And when he's done with me, then my dad's going to get me. When we get back home, like some know it, but not everybody does know it. Listen, this is Travis Kelce. Okay, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's the best tight end in the NFL. Okay, he's got a 12-year relationship with the guy who drafted him. Right? It's a little different. You can't do this. You can't do it. I'm just telling you. That's my concern in it. I don't know Travis Kelce personally, probably never will. I don't know Andy Reid personally, probably never will. They're grown fellas. Okay, they've won a bunch of Super Bowls. More power to them. They don't need my advice. They don't really even need my concern, I'm sure. And whatever. My concern is little Johnny, all right, who's out here playing 8th grade football, who idolizes Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying it. I'm not some kind of, goody two-shoes standing up here stumping. I'm telling you the truth. My concern is for that little Johnny playing 8th grade football, and his idol is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and he wants to be an NFL player. And if you know Johnny, little Johnny, if he's yours or if you know one, you better drive that home. Hey, just so you know, this won't fly. That was a mistake, okay? You don't do it. Do it and watch what happens. Your career here will be over. You'll be looking for a new school if you want to play football if you pull that stunt here. And that's just the truth and the way it ought to be. So don't emulate that. That's my concern in the whole thing. Let's see here. Jason in Flagstaff, yes. And I hadn't even talked about this. Jason in Flagstaff, Arizona. He may still be snowed in for all I know. But he texts the show. He says, I'm kind of late getting in here. He said, but did you see all the nonsense at the golf tournament down the road this weekend? Yes. Jason, listen. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment. I mean, way to go, Phoenix. Way to go, Waste Management. That's all you. You got the stadium hole, right? The stadium course and the stadium hole right there, the par 3, and it's all cool. I've watched it over the years. It's a neat thing. But you talk about, you want to celebrate a culture that is, we're the party tournament, right? Like we're going to have a big frat party and a golf tournament in the middle of it. And we're going to celebrate that and bill it as such. Okay, well, you made that bed and now you lay in it. An embarrassment for you, for the people there. You had to cut everybody off. You had so many people blacking out, drunk. I mean, an absolute embarrassment. And then you got some of these mushy-headed media out here, Jason, that think it's cute and giggle and just think it's cute. It ain't cute. It's an embarrassment. If you're a marketing person with Waste Management, you get as far away from that tournament as you can in the future. Have a nice night. We'll do it again tomorrow. See you then. See you.